And welcome back to the Touch World Cup 2024, Day 3, Pitch 3. And it's the Mixed 30s division, New Zealand attacking from right to left. And their all-black strip with the Cook Islands defending in the green and white, going left to right. It's New Zealand with the first line attack. I've got a feeling we're in for a free-flowing game of rugby. Sweeper play comes round, step back, looks to dive for the line, good footwork, touch is made. They'll roll the ball and they'll take more touches. Open side quickie, trying to go at the link. Does, ball goes wide. And that'll be 6 more. Number 16, Jean. With number 7, Zane Welsh. Welsh burning a touch. Jean, back to Welsh. Working with Scott Shane. Ball goes out to the link. Nice depth added. A little bit static, nothing doing at the moment. Cook Islands relatively happy in defence. Open side quickie, they come to the short side, look for a mismatch. Gets around the player, ball is down, and we have the opening score of this Mixed 30s affair. And New Zealand go a try to the good. And it is that man, Nat Jewell, getting over. And the Cook Islands now will look to reply in very swift fashion. And Turley on the ball with Marama on the ball. Chekhov, Rappers there. It's Jeremy Campbell on the ball with the number 6 jersey. Turley on the ball. ML coming, hammer play. Looks to go around the outside, but New Zealand man up, and that's 6-touch turnover. So a good defensive set from New Zealand as they look to transition and get fresh legs on. Lovely little play, big contact in the midfield. Call play on from the ref, but they will give the hard touch. And it's Amira Clark-Manahi on the ball, driving up the middle. Number 3, Reece Glossier, trucking it up. With Michael Pamari. They look to go on the outside. Step back, Counties play. Looks to step again, because they're up to the task. A little bit static in the midfield at the moment. Look to inject some pace. Oh, might get caught dropping early. 5th touch. They look to go around the outside. Step back players on with that 6-touch turnover. Good scramble defence from the Cook Islands. As they look to get their own transition rolling and get the fresh legs on. Couple touches taken up the box. As they look to go expansive. Johnny Leota, number 1. Oh, good hands not to drop the ball. Leota on the ball. Oh, doggies play. Sweeper coming round. Options either side. Recycles back to the midfield. 2-on-1. They can't quite expose it. Ball goes to ground. Both teams just feeling themselves into the game in this opening period. Good pace injected. Big touch. Coming in from Maggie Leota. Scooping play comes, looks to kick through. Does. Can she find the winger? Doesn't need to. The pace from New Zealand is too much. Scoring player comes off with a little bit of a limp, but he won't mind that, and that's 2 to the good for the Touch Blacks. I think it was number 5, Scott Shane again. Going over. Beautiful pace injected. It was indeed Scott Shane getting over for New Zealand. And both of these teams, a lot of pedigree in rugby, so the core skills will be on show. As you've seen with some of the hands on display. The Cook Islands need a reply. I don't want to go 3 down against New Zealand. It's not a recipe for success. The ball drifts forward. That'll be a penalty. And New Zealand feeling awfully confident. Tap penalty to restart. Good pace injected up the guts. Oh, good hands on display to try and go around the outside. So 3 touch on halfway. Fresh legs coming on. Samira Clark Manahi injecting some pace. Michael Pomari trying to go around. Number 3, Reese Glossier. Deep switch. Long ball is on. He rips it. It's a spiral bomb. And gets into the corner. Away from the diving touch. And it's Michael Pomari going wide to Amira Clark Manahi. Beautiful diving score in the corner. And New Zealand at the moment having all the joy in this opening 10. And Cook Islands just slowing the ball down a little bit, securing possession. Going into the 7, here's the pace. ML coming, looks to step. A little bit congested in the midfield. There is gaps in the link wing. If they can look to go expansive and find it. Sweeper plate coming round. Good dump. Options. Losing his footing at the last minute, but there will be an offside penalty. And Cook Islands enjoying a little bit of possession here. It's Jeremy Campbell on the ball. Working with Turley. Turley back to Campbell. Campbell looks to go back to Turley, decides to keep the ball. And that's a roll ball infringement for hips not square. And it's a little bit of a coach killer. He does so well to draw the penalty. And then recycling the play, you give away the ball needlessly. New Zealand now driving up the middle again. It's this transition, it's so slick. Really good dump. Joel with Scott Shane. Scott Shane switching out with Zane Welsh. Welsh taking the touch. Joel looking to kick open side. Does. Touch isn't made, and Scott Shane is the beneficiary of the snake hips from Nat Joel, and very quickly 3 becomes 4. And it's off the back of this transition where New Zealand look the most potent. And the team from Aotearoa enjoying their time on pitch 3. And the big man, Johnny Liotta, on the ball. Buddying up the middle. We're together with Michael Coker. Jordan Joe working with Johnny Liotta. Liotta to Joe. Touch comes in, but the dump isn't made cleanly. As we hear some vuvuzelas going off in the background. Liotta. Joe and Coker. Joe, strike dump. Coker. Could pop to Liotta. Oh, a little bit of disguise on the play. Ball doesn't get released, and a lovely diving touch. Number 3, Glossier. Oh, big contact in the midfield. Johnny Liotta, the big man. Bit too big for his own boots there. Lovely shot. But New Zealand just take the roll ball. They go. A little bit of a groan for. Oh, lovely feet. Doesn't get away from Joe. And Coker coming up, putting some pressure on. Good touch. Dangerous pod. Jared Powell taking the ball in. That's the second big touch from Johnny Liotta. Screams a good boy, Johnny, coming from the New Zealand touchline. They know each other. Pomare. Strike dump. Back to Pomare. Looks to dive over. Touch is made. It's a softer touch from Liotta. Oh, pick up Counties play. Lovely ball, lovely depth of pass, and unfortunately, the ball to the wing is just floated a bit too high. Naomi Ireland Tupai can't reel that one in. If only she was a couple feet taller, then maybe she stood a chance, such as the height of the ball delivered. And Cook Islands, this is a little bit better in their transition. Could have played the extra ball, doesn't. Good pace injected. Scooping play comes through. It's Turley trying to go through, working with Terry Joe. Doesn't quite happen for him. 3 Joes in the team. Terry Joe, Carly Joe, Jordan Joe. And you've got Joe Wright commentating. 4 of us combined on pitch 3. Lovely transition here from New Zealand, getting fresh legs on. Oh, good hands, popping the ball around the player, and that'll be a penalty. Terry Joe was in the ruck. New Zealand manipulating the ball oh so well. It's Zane Welsh in the 7, 16, Nat Jull. Taking off to the danger man. Shane Scott. Back to Scott. Looks to go wide. Link wing hole is on. Crowded up by Maggie Liotta. Great read from the winger. Good hands from the Cook Islands to check back across. And the scoring has slowed down. Cook Islands feeling themselves into the game. Ball taken up the middle. Lovely whip pass outside. Bit of a shallow cut, not really disguising anything. And the release from Shane Scott is perfect to get up in the passing lane and shut that ball down. Oh, great hands and core skills on display. And it's Amira Clark Manahi whipping onto the ball with some pace. And Glossier working with Pomare. Pomare checking off to Bronson Waka. Waka diving at the line. Tap penalty for Cook Islands. Ball drifting forward. And that's good meters made off first. This is a much better transition from the Cook Islands. Second touch. Rolling over the halfway. Oh, lovely little dummy. See you later. Thought we had an injury there. No, he's just putting his boot back on. And look at the depth injected from Cook Islands. Liotta picking up from half. Looks to go long. Flat ball. It's a beautiful ball. But there's just a little bit too much on it. As I believe it was Renee Seeley trying to go through the link wing hole. Doesn't quite happen. Another big touch. It's a physical affair on pitch 3 so far. Lovely transition again from New Zealand. Very clean when they get into touches 2 and 3 and getting the fresh legs on. And they try and go through the gap. Lovely little cut underneath. They look to go wide. Tap on. Doesn't quite happen for him. Jared Pomare orchestrating that attack off the back of the transition. Working with Jared Powell. And ball is just judged to go forward, so tap penalty for the Cook Islands. Liotta. Good hands again. Check-off is on to Liotta. Doesn't go. Good yards made up the box side for the Cook Islands. Cook Islands with a deep pedigree in rugby league. Reinvigorated in this Touch World Cup. Oh, lovely hands. Ball looks to go wide. They've got a touch to play with. No, they don't. They were set up lovely for the long ball out to the far wing. And it was Terry Joe working with John Dean for the Cook Islands in that line attack. Doesn't quite happen for them. New Zealand now. There's a couple caps listed around pitch 3. Just goes to demonstrate the pace at which this game has been run. And here's the danger pod. Oh, lovely touch from Joe. Getting out to the line. And Glozia. Unlucky. Ball just goes to ground. Good whip around the outside. And Cook Island's definitely feeling a little bit more settled in this first half. The scoring's definitely slowed down. And New Zealand struggling to get over that whitewash as consistently as they were in the opening 5-10 minutes. Good hands on display, but really good line speed from the New Zealand link. And fifth, need the pace, 3-on-2. Can they execute? They look to go wide initially, but the ball goes forward. And there's a roll ball infringement. So for the first time, the Cook Islands have a tap penalty in the midfield. And it's Maggie Liotta taking the ball up the guts. Renee Seeley checking the ball off onto the open side. Coker working with Campbell. Campbell back to Coker. Coker, open side quickie. Good option. Looks to go long. The ball is there. Maggie Liotta's in acres of space. But unfortunately for Maggie Liotta, the ball just drifted forward out of the hands. So Cook Islands definitely growing into the game, feeling more confident. If not for a forward pass, they'd be on the scoreboard. And again, it's another really potent transition. Eliza Ward involved in everything up this box side. And they whip it open. Pomare, Jared Pomare looks to go wide to the Winkling. Doesn't happen for them. 6-touch turnover. And Cook Islands have definitely grown into this tie. Have reacted well to the stimuli coming their way from New Zealand. Just a little bit stagnant flying onto the field. That's better depth. Need to go forward. Joe on the ball. Pick up by Turley. Turley keeps going round. Could have just gone through the gap. Gives the pass a little bit early. Maybe should have tried to ghost through himself. A little bit of a hitch kick. His caps are thrown all over the field from the Cook Islands. Good nudge on. Like Kylie Joe. Good touch. Really good strike dump there from Jordan Rogers. Wearing the number 2. And now the New Zealand touch blacks look to go around the outside. There's a Cook Islands player down on the floor, and it's once again Shane Scott working with Nat Jull. And all the success have come from those two for New Zealand, and Cook Islands just slowing things down a bit, burning a couple touches. And Cook Islands trapped behind the gain line at the moment. They're going to need a little bit of magic. Here's the pace. That's better. 3-on-2 if they can execute. They opt against it. And it was Coker trying to burn through. Doesn't quite happen for him. You get Johnny Liotta barking orders at his defence. And they get the result. They get the turnover. Roll ball infringement. Off the mark. And Coker to Campbell. Coker. Liotta. Coker. Little bit stagnant. Needs to go forward. Liotta back to Coker. He might look for the link punish. They do. They come back to the open side. Liotta probably look to go long. Little bit of a delayed pass. Was the touch made? No, it wasn't, and right on the hooter. Cook Islands do get their reward for staying in the fight. I believe it was Jeremy Campbell working with John Leota getting over the touchline. And this half will end 4 tries to 1 in favour of New Zealand, with Cook Islands getting a score just on the hooter. A little bit of chat between the refs and the two representatives from the Cook Islands and New Zealand. And we will take a very quick break. I'll be right back with you for the second half.
And I'm representing the Highdex programme, which is one of the sponsors of the Touch Rugby World Cup. Highdex is a collaboration of a number of universities based in the Midlands, including the University of Nottingham. One of Hydex's main aims is to support industry to innovate, developing new products and services in the hydrogen economy. We decided to sponsor the Touch Rugby World Cup, particularly in relation to energy use, so that Geopura, a locally based business, can provide hydrogen to be utilised at the event, making the event more sustainable and improving air quality for visitors and competitors alike. We hope this support will encourage others to look for more sustainable ways to run similar events in the future. Finally, just to say, we hope everyone that's involved in the event has a great time. Thank you.
I love not.
And welcome back to pitch 3, the Cook Islands. 3 tries down against New Zealand. New Zealand lead 4 tries to 1. And Cook Islands, good value for their 1 score, but New Zealand definitely in the ascendancy. But went a long period without a score, so Cook Islands will look to start fresh. Joe looks for the phase, touch was engaged. It's got to go long, it doesn't. And that's 5th touch. So a good opportunity for a phase play, just a little bit disjointed. John Dean with the number 5 on the ball now, checking off. They look to whip it back on the open side is Joe. Dummy switch, switch goes, long ball, 2 on 1. They just can't quite execute. Good ideas, good imagination from the Cook Islands. But New Zealand more than up to the task of keeping them off the whitewash. And again, it's this potent New Zealand transition with Jordan Rogers leading. Eliza Ward on the ball. Natural working with the danger man. Oh, lovely diving touch from the Cook Islands middle. Flying out the line, and a bit of a shake of the hands afterwards to acknowledge how good the touch was. And a lot of these guys would know each other. A lot of interchange between nations. Not to mention the Pacific Cup. 6 more. Shane Scott getting up with the passing lane, knocking the ball down. 6 more. The Cook Islands, a little bit of a physical touch, yeah, it's a bit too telegraphed, especially when the refs had a conversation at half-time to say we've got to bring the physicality level down. You can at least try and disguise it a little bit more, Shane Scott. Well, they'll probably feel a bit hard done by. John Leota got away with 2 massive ones in the first half. There's Coker working with Campbell. Campbell, Coker, Turley. Deep ball to Coker, doesn't quite come off. And another good D-set from New Zealand. Got Shane getting the ball down, really good dump, physicality as well in the touch, more than up to it, and a lovely track of the hands, and they're in behind the defenders. It's 6 on 5 for a little bit, but the switch was the wrong option, and an overlap on the far side. Just a lapse of communication, the wrong attacking read from New Zealand, and it also gives the Cook Islands a good field position. Leota checking off. Leota picking up. Joe on his outside. Look. Oh, and Johnny Leota nominates the fact that he's dummy half. Good touch from Joe. Jordan Joe. Working with Terry Joe. Leota. Getting up, making the touch. Another good touch from Leota. Pomare looks to get the ball down for a strike dump. Scooping opportunity on the far side. Doesn't quite come off for them. Roll ball infringement. And Cook Islands with an opportunity to get some fresh legs on. Leota on the ball. Looks to pop. Does. Lovely little dummy. Marginally on the mark. Very close for me. For being an infringement. Doesn't matter. Cook Islands now looking to scoop. Does. Dummy. And it's Turley. Trying to go through a gap. Well, I believe there's 2 of them out there. So with the Cook Islands, it's a bit of a family affair. You've got 3 Joes, 2 Leotas, 2 Turleys. And New Zealand, again, it's this transition where they've really outclassed the Cook Islands in that respect. Just the directness of it, the pace of it. Oh, good footwork, diving touch comes in, isn't made. Ball goes out to the wing. and a crucial defensive intervention to stop what would be a beautiful free-flowing score. But it just doesn't quite happen for them. And it's Welsh checking off to Jewell. Scott on the ball. Working with Jewell. Scott, check off. Jewell looks to dive at the line, doesn't, goes long, lovely catch and ground. And it's Naomi Ireland Tupai. Gets over for the 5th New Zealand score, extending their lead back out to 4. Lovely hands manipulating from one side to the other, free-flowing scores. And you'd expect nothing less from the team from Aotearoa. And Cook Islands now. Campbell. Joe. Campbell. Coker. Coker goes long. Good ball. Good hands. It's a nice take from Maggie Liotta. The touch is made. Joe. Looks to give to Coker. Is caught. 6-touch turnover. New Zealand box calling for some control. Oh, it's a lovely transition again. Pomare. Powell. Pomare dumps, but loss of control. And for me, that's the level of physicality you need in the touch. That's a fair touch. Strong touch. But fair, equal opportunity. Oh, lovely feet to get round and a really good dump. It was number 4, Renee Seeley. She's been brilliant for the Cook Islands. Liotta, check off. Joe, Liotta. Joe on his right. Turley on his left, goes to Turley. Liotta picks up. Back to Turley. Turley looks to go long. Does pop back on the inside. That could be 6 more, isn't given. It's a really good defensive read from the New Zealand winger, and unfortunately, from my vantage point, can't quite get a number to give her the credit she deserves. I believe it was Taylor and Kiwi Stoke who was making that defensive intervention on the far side. Oh, and a clean set of heels. Eliza Ward, see you later. Little show and go. Too good. Sold the Cook Island defenders. And then the gas to go through the gap she manufactured for herself. And once again, New Zealand having all the joy in attack. 6 tries to 1. And Cook Islands just need to find their feet again. They started to really grow into the game in the first half. They looked solid. Started this second half, but New Zealand have kicked up a gear. Here's Coker. Looks for the passive link. The link was on. Doesn't quite happen for them. Coker, Joe. Coker. Campbell. Back to Coker. Coker looks long. Goes long. Lovely ball. Yep, and it's waved on. And I believe it's Maggie Liotta on the far side. Lovely long ball out to the wing, left to right, 30-yard pill. Sinking into the corner. They cut the deficit back down, but they're going to need a lot more of that to stay in the fight with what is an extremely talented New Zealand mixed 30s. And I've almost got to remind myself that this is mixed 30s and not the opens, such as the skills that are on display. Shane Scott on the ball. Jewell whips open side. Welsh back to... Oh, it's such a lovely hole. Shane Scott It's a beautiful flat pill left to right, delivered from Zane Welsh. And it's a beauty of a score for the Touch Blacks. And what a hole and a line cut by Shane Scott. And just as soon as Cook Islands go and get themselves a score, the New Zealand side nullify that with style. Leota now on the ball, looks to go long, link wing hole is on, and it just falls at the last minute. Well, once again, Cook Islands showing that they've come here to play. They've come here to play expansive. But this New Zealand side is just putting them to the sword. And it's a little bit too comfortable for New Zealand at the moment. But Johnny Leota, the biggest ball hawk you'll see all week in the midfield, reeling the ball in. Glue on the fingertips. Oh, lovely hands again. And it just can't quite reel it in. Can Jordan Joe? In New Zealand with this dangerous pod. Zane Welsh on the ball, looks to whip open side, does! And it's a pill from Bronson Waka. Getting over the top. Unfortunately, I can't quite see the winger's number who reeled that one in. But yet another try for New Zealand. And looking more and more comfortable the longer this game goes on. Johnny Leota on the ball. Looking to carry half. Dummy half. Ooh, that was close to being half court off first. Isn't. And there's 6 more. Zane Welsh getting up in the passing lane. Causing all sorts of problems. Leota. Working with Turley. Leota. Turley. Back to Leota. Leota's checked back off on the inside, but Shane Scott more than up to it. Beautiful release from the line. Well timed. Leota, Turley, Dean. Looks long. Good hands. Renee Seeley with the hands in the link position. Leota goes long. Bit speculative on the last and ball goes dead. Oh, and here it is again. Rogers involved in the transition. So is Scott. So is Ward. Just has to take the ball back a little bit to Naomi Island Tupai. And the ball is dropped from Jared Pomare. Coker feeds off infield. Turley. Coker receiving the ball on the inside. Looks for the ML. Doesn't happen. Joe picks up. Coker. Joe. Campbell on the switch. Back to Coker. Coker takes the touch. A little bit static. New Zealand all onside. Campbell looks to go split short side. Does. Joe looks long. Oh, it's a good line cut from the link position. I believe it was Renee Seeley trying to go through the link wing hole. Doesn't quite happen. Coker, that's a really good initial dump. And once again, Amira Clark-Manahi Oh, really good pressure from Coker. Getting up in the passing lane. Oh, lovely feet. Oh, lovely skill. Can it go one more? It does. Refs just call it on. We want to see the score. But they don't. Unfortunately, you've got to be spoil sports while reffing to the law. And the beautiful out-the-back passes were made after the touch. So Cook Islands, once again, living life dangerously. Leota, one-handed stab. Odell Beckham Jr. Turley on the ball. Turley. Breyer and Aaron Turley involved. Looks flat to the line, pop into space. Nothing doing, won't stress the New Zealand defence all that much. Oh, Leota up in the passing lane again. Good defensive pressure and forces the turnover. Johnny Leota involved in all the positives defensively for the Cook Islands, but it's going to be too little too late. There's such a big score deficit. I'm not going to say it's insurmountable. It's as close to that as it can be. Turley, Leota at link. Chekhov, back to Leota. They fake the dump. Oh, lovely hands. The refs got a. Cook Islands have got away with one there. The ball bounced off the floor, but they sell it well. Leota, Coker. Nothing doing. And Cook Islands right in their luck at the moment. Coker, Turley, really good strike dump. Leota was in space, should have gone to Johnny Leota. Didn't in the end, and they might rue that decision. And it's fine margins at the moment for the attack of the Cook Islands mixed 30s. On another day, things could have been different. But as it stands, New Zealand are very comfortable. Rolling into this last passage. New Zealand look to go out with a bit of a bang. Pomare on the ball. Back to Powell. Pomare looks long. 6 more. And it's a bit of a tough call for Aaron Turley, trying to make the touch. Also in the passing lane, it's one of those where you're saying, no sir, I definitely wasn't playing for it. But New Zealand once again come thick and fast. Oh, and the hands just failing at the last. Jared Pomare being asked to do an awful lot from the ball from Hone Paroni. Nice check off into the midfield. Cook Islands now looking to drive straight. That's really good pace injected. Really good strike dump. However, New Zealand and Pomare more than up to the task. A good early release again. New Zealand been really impressive in defence. Really good numbers. Oh, lovely play, whipping the ball out. Good footwork in the midfield for Bronson Waka. Tap penalty taken by Jared Powell. Waka. Powell. Waka. Oh, lovely feet, lovely setup. Oh, an unlucky interception attempt from John Dean. However, 6 more in New Zealand with another good line attack opportunity. Waka looks to dive for the line, does, lovely right foot step, and Dean can't get anywhere near. And New Zealand enjoying their time on pitch 3 in their mixed 30s. A rather dominant performance. And the hooter goes. And will there be time for one more? There won't be. New Zealand, comfortable win for them in the end. Really running away with things early on in the first half, and then in the back end of the second half, kicking back up into gear. And that will be all she wrote for pitch 3 on day 3 at the Highfields Sports Centre for the Touch World Cup 2024. And we'll take a very short break, and we'll be back with you in just a moment.
And I'm representing the Highdex programme, which is one of the sponsors of the Touch Rugby World Cup. Highdex is a collaboration of a number of universities based in the Midlands, including the University of Nottingham. One of Hydex's main aims is to support industry to innovate, developing new products and services in the hydrogen economy. We decided to sponsor the Touch Rugby World Cup, particularly in relation to energy use, so that Geopura, a locally based